Hey, I'm making this video for our interns. Sorry, my voice is a little nasaled. But the first thing I wanted to say is I'm creating a spreadsheet on Google Docs, a Google Sheet, to help organize these initiatives. Nothing has to be too rigid. The goal of these tabs are to kind of provide notes and structure to each initiative we're working on. And most importantly, you guys are a team and you need to work together to organize certain tasks and responsibilities. I can't be looked at as the manager here. I'm kind of the mentor. You guys are the team. So let me walk you through each tab and kind of show you how I envision our summer marketing initiatives. And it's definitely being led by this robotathon. So the first tab you'll see is the simple CRM. A CRM is customer relationship management, and it's a way to keep track of any emailing you're doing to potential customers or leads. So you can see here, this will specifically be used for university reach outs. So for example, you might type in, the Institute of Indian Technology and set one email waiting response. And again, Devansh is managing this and leading this process, but we want to create a big list of Indian universities and then start actually aggressively emailing heads of departments so that we can get them to advertise this contest to their students. We really need to do that. So we'll manage this here. Now one of my mentors also told me to take this from a different angle, which we could also experiment. I have it here called pushing even harder, where we could actually take our users, and you guys can figure out how to find these users. It might be going into the system manually, making posts for volunteers, but finding users that can introduce us to their favorite professors. And what we could do is that it becomes a more personal way to get professors involved and talking about this contest to their students. And we could do that by offering to interview professors and publishing big stories to our 100,000 plus user base covering what these professors are doing, their work. Professors are very hard to impress, but one thing that will impress them is the ability to get published. And we are a publication because we have over 100,000 people looking at what we're doing monthly. So for example, you might take one of our top users like John Rodriguez, and he may have a top engineering professor, Dr. Ram, and you guys could work on some tactics like creating a public calendar for professors, getting their email addresses, but ultimately getting a user to make an introduction to the professor and then making some type of pitch to the professor that says, hey, we love what you're doing. This is what we're doing with the Robotathon. We'd love to interview you and get you, in the eyes of not only our 100,000 plus user base, but also some of our partners, like we're working with Startup India and Make in India. We're going to sell them on distributing our hackathon to their user base in exchange for some coverage of what they're doing. And this should be a fun, interesting way of also getting some traction with professors actually getting in back of this contest. You could ask me other questions about this, but I think it's very important. This tab is just taking notes on some of these communities we've been posting in. I know you guys have been working on Quora, Reddit, DevPost, so just take some notes here on what you want to continue to post on. I think that strategy is actually good, just takes persistence. This is just basic community management. It's the Robotathon page management. You guys know hellos, contributions, buffers are being handled. Project help is critical. For fails, this is kind of the overall bucket of not only fails, but any interesting content you want to feed into the community weekly, whether it's a tutorial, an amazing story, a fail. It's very important, I think, to continue to streamline that content into the community. Again, you guys have to delegate who's responsible for what. We've got about 5 or 6 people now working on this. I'm working on major endorsements. So my job is I'm going to be bringing in some big names like Startup India, Make in India, New York Times to talk about the Robotathon and the platform. Story coverage, it's similar to the Fails initiative. This might be anytime you want to cover a specific story. Already recently covered the Robotathon. Next up, we'll determine what that story is and who's writing it. I'm also responsible for managing advertising and communications to our user base, so that's my job. And this tab is for management of any specific journalists we want to reach out to. Let me know if all this is clear. We need to get motivated, start delegating tasks, and really coming up with some fluid collaboration and teamwork to actually starting to push out these initiatives.